Hello, welcome to our channel where we take you back to the ancient Mesopotamia into the life of Sargon of Akkad. Without going much further, let's dive straight to it. Long before the great empires of Rome, Persia, and Egypt, before Alexander the Great, before Julius Caesar, there was one man who defied the odds, rose from nothing, and carved the first true empire in history. His name? Sargon of Akkad. But who was Sargon? Was he a noble warrior or a child abandoned at birth? Was he a rightful ruler or a cunning usurper? His story is filled with mystery, ambition, and an unshakable will to conquer. Join us as we journey back over 4,000 years to explore the incredible life of the world's first emperor. A river flows under the golden Mesopotamian sun. A basket floats along the currents. Our story begins around 2330 BCE in the cradle of civilization, Mesopotamia. Sargon's origins are shrouded in legend, much like those of Moses in later biblical texts. According to ancient sources, Sargon was not born into royalty but was instead a commoner, perhaps even an abandoned child. His mother, a priestess, could not raise him, for priestesses were forbidden to bear children, and so she placed him in a reed basket, sealing it with pitch, and set him adrift on the great Euphrates River. The basket floats down the river, caught by a farmer on the riverbank. But fate had other plans. The basket was found by Aki, a simple but kind gardener who worked for the king of Kish. He took the child in, raised him as his own, and named him Sargon, meaning the true king. A grand palace stands tall. A young Sargon, now a strong man, serves as a cupbearer to the king. Despite his humble beginnings, Sargon was no ordinary boy. He grew up to be intelligent, strong, and ambitious. His journey led him to the court of Uarzababa, the king of Kish, where he served as a cupbearer. This was no mere servant's job. It was a position of trust, placing Sargon close to the seat of power. King Uarzababa sits on his throne, looking worried. One day, Uarzababa received a terrifying vision, a prophecy that his own servant, Sargon, would overthrow him. Fearful, the king devised a deadly plan and sent Sargon on a dangerous mission to the city of Uruk, ruled by the powerful king Lugalzage. Sargon walks through the desert, his fate uncertain. But instead of being killed, Sargon used his charisma and cunning to gain allies. He returned not as a servant, but as a warrior, a leader, and with the support of his men, he did the unthinkable. He overthrew Uarzababa and took the throne of Kish for himself. Visuals of armies marching, city gates falling, and battles raging across Mesopotamia. But ruling Kish was not enough. Sargon had a vision, a unified empire, something never before seen. He set his sights on the fractured city-states of Sumer, where kings constantly warred against one another. His greatest challenge? Lugalzage, the king of Uruk, who had conquered much of Sumer. Their clash would decide the future of Mesopotamia. Sargon and Lugalzage's armies collide in a massive battle. In a legendary battle, Sargon crushed Lugalzage's forces. The once mighty king of Uruk was captured and paraded in chains through the streets of Nippur. It was a clear message. Sargon was now the master of Sumer. Akkad rises, its walls gleaming under the sun. With Sumer under his control, Sargon did something unprecedented. Instead of ruling from an old Sumerian city, he founded a new capital, Akkad. From here, he would govern not just a kingdom, but an empire stretching from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean Sea. Sargon's empire was built on innovation. He centralized government, created a professional army, and spread a new language, Akkadian, which would dominate Mesopotamia for centuries. Scenes of rebellions and unrest. Sargon, now older, stands tall before his enemies. But ruling an empire was not easy. The city-states he conquered rebelled time and again, forcing Sargon into constant wars. Yet, he remained undefeated, crushing rebellion after rebellion. He called himself king of the four quarters of the world. His empire was the first of its kind, a model that future conquerors, like Hammurabi, Cyrus the Great, and even Alexander, would follow. A storm rages. Akkad stands strong, but Sargon grows weary. After ruling for over 50 years, Sargon's fate remains uncertain. Some say he died peacefully in his capital. Others whisper that rebellion finally overwhelmed his empire. But one thing is certain: his legacy lived on. His dynasty ruled for over a century, and his empire set the stage for future civilizations. A final shot of Akkad fading into dust as the sands of time sweep over it. Images of later empires: Babylon, Assyria, Persia, all taking inspiration from Akkad. Sargon of Akkad was more than just a conqueror. He was the blueprint for every great ruler who followed. From a humble orphan to the world's first emperor, his story teaches us that ambition, intelligence, and courage can change the course of history. But what do you think? Was Sargon a brilliant leader or a ruthless warlord? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories of the ancient world.